Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball game, arcade game, coin-operated machine video for you today. We have been working on this Space Odyssey pinball machine, and we were doing our repair videos. So in the first video, we showed you us repainting the playfield. In the second video, we showed you that we were starting to work through some of the switches and things in the back box. And then in this video, we're going to show you some of the other repairs we did, and getting the game up and running, which as you can see it is. So we'll get to that part of the video and show you the rest of the repairs that we did. Okay, so we've moved around to the front of the machine, and we're going to do underneath the playfield first. I've just figured I'd show you a couple things that I noticed. We've got to go through and clean all the switches. We've got to go through and replace all the light bulbs. And you can see things, whenever these games have been sitting a long time, you'll get just filth like this underneath the inserts. So you can clean that off with Windex and a Q-tip or something like that, and it'll make everything shine bright. But a couple things that I noticed on this one, look at this. Somebody's removed screws from one of the switches. One of the that'll be one of the slingshot switches. So the screws have been removed from that. I noticed that. And also up here on this particular model, they have this little bridge rectifier, or I guess that's what that is, and a cap. One of the legs is broken loose, so we'll have to resolder that. This is so they can use DC power on the flipper coils. So we're going to have to go through and clean all the switches, replace all the light bulbs, fix those two things that I found, the switch and the cap being done, rebuild the flippers, clean all of the relays. Some of these might be a good one to show you a little better how that action works that I was talking about in the back. Look at this one right here. This is called a make-break switch. So you'll see that it, whenever it pulls, the relay pulls in, it will make that top. Would be cool if that would focus. Yeah, there we go. See how it's moving it slightly? And then when the relay lets off, it touches the other one. So when it makes that switch, it breaks the other switch, and when it makes that switch, it breaks the other switch. So this, notice really closely, really carefully how that moves whenever it goes in. See how that top blade moves slightly? And see how the bottom one moves slightly? That's called a wiping action. You want it to move just a little bit whenever the points hit it, because what it does is it actually cleans it. And it keeps them working longer. So they're kind of self-cleaning. See the top one there? And so when they're all moving slightly, you can tell that they must be working properly, especially if you have them clean, you know, before they'll conduct electricity. Now, do not go through the machine and adjust every switch. If it's close, if it looks like it's moving barely, if I look I can see it barely moving, just leave it alone. Because if you go through and you try to adjust every switch, you'll screw something up, and then it'll take you a while to find it. So you don't want to do that. You just want to adjust switches that you can obviously tell that something's wrong, especially if you're a novice and you haven't done it much. So I'm not bragging and saying that I'm really good at it or anything like that. I'm just saying, if it's your first time or your second time messing with an EM machine, just clean the switches. You might even try playing the thing without cleaning the switches and seeing if you can get it to work without cleaning the switches. But if you do have to go through and clean them all, just clean them all. Don't adjust every switch. If you adjust them, you will get things out of whack. But sometimes you'll find something that's obviously messed up, and of course go ahead and fix that. Like for instance the screws that are missing, or the cap that's broke off, or if you find a switch that's bent or out of shape or something, and you'll find all kinds of stuff underneath the playfield. Now another thing that I noticed is we have this unit here, which they are calling the swinging target unit. Alright, so on this machine there is a swinging target right in the middle, and it's ran by this motor here. So you can turn this on the back and get the motor to do its thing. So that's not locked up or anything. I imagine that will work whenever we run power to it. And then we've got these two stepper units, just like we were messing with in the back, the ball count unit. So this one is the swinging target unit, and this one is the bonus unit. Right? So this one is a little bit different than the one in the back. You'll notice it only has one coil. And the reason it only has one coil is because it only goes one direction. So that just keeps spinning around and around. So when you pull the coil in, it should step it up one position. And it's not, because it's not got enough, it's got too much tension on it where it can't do it on its own. So we're going to have to go through and clean all of that and get that where it's moving well. And every time that coil pulls in, it steps up one position like that. And then on this one, it has two coils just like the one in the back did, but the one in the back had that one coil that reset everything. This one doesn't have that. So this one has one coil that steps it up. So that's 3 positions. And then this other coil steps it down, but only one position at a time. Now the reason they do it like that is because this is the bonus unit. So like if you step up to, like, you know, the 10th position, it steps it down one position each time and it gives you the points each time. So if it steps it down 10 times, it gives you 10,000 points or whatever it is. I haven't looked at it. But they do it one at a time so it can keep track of where you are, like on the bonus ladder. If they had it where, say it was set to like 40,000, and then you hit whatever scores the bonus, well, it would have to have a special relay in here to give you 40,000 points, right? So instead of that, what they do is they have a 10,000 point relay or whatever it is. I'm just guessing. Let me see how they have it. Okay, it's thousands. So instead of having like a 4,000 point relay, they have a 1,000 point relay. And every time this steps down, like at the end of the ball or whenever you score it, it does 1,000 points, 1,000 points, 1,000 points, 1,000 points. See what I'm saying? And it's just a way for them to handle that. So it has 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, and then it will go up again over 10. So it'll go up to, I guess, let's see, it can go up to 20,000 points. So instead of having a 2,000 point relay, a 3,000 point relay, a 4,000 point relay, a 5,000 point relay, it just, every time it counts back up to 20 times, it pulses the 1,000 point relay. So you have to get that where it'll step up and it'll step back. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to clean that up. And then whenever we get that ready, all the stuff on the bottom, we'll start messing with the stuff in the base of the cabinet, and we'll shoot a little video whenever we analyze that a little bit. All right, folks, we are eating this elephant one bite at a time. So what I have done is I went through and I cleaned every switch underneath the playfield, and I replaced the coil sleeves in the flippers, which were the original metal ones. I guess those are steel. These never work right. So you always put nylon ones in. So we put brand new nylon ones in. That may need more work. I know I have to replace the flipper shaft on the right and everything, but I'm just trying to do things as I come to them. I resoldered the cap up there. Worked through all these relays and everything. This bonus unit, you can see I shined up all of the rivets, cleaned everything, oiled everything, and now when you step it up, it does like it's supposed to do. So we got that going. And then I noticed over here, this one was working. If you remember earlier in the video, I went ahead and took it apart, cleaned it, shined up all the rivets. It was working earlier in the video, but the spider didn't line up quite right. Like it wouldn't hit dead center of the rivets. It was off a little bit. So as you can see right there, see that screw? There's one there and one over there. You can take those loose and move the board to get it to line up. So I did just that. Now this screw here is missing a washer because somebody had already taken this apart, and whenever they put it back, I guess they got it a little off. So I'm not positive that it's going back to the correct home position, but I believe it is. And I'm going to step it up a few places because here in a minute we're going to try to start this whole damn thing and see if everything goes clack, clack, clacking like it's supposed to. But we'll see. But the last thing we have to do, I've done everything in the back box. I've done everything on the bottom of the playfield. We painted the playfield, you know, did everything on the top of the playfield. And so the last thing that I've got left is I have to do the things that are actually in the body of the cabinet, which on this one there's really not all that much down in here, which is good. So I need to clean the jounce plugs from the playfield to the cabinet. Got a few relays there, got a few relays on this side. We've got the chime unit here that's unplugged for some reason. I've got to put a new power switch on it, or at least just solder the wires back on that power switch. And then I have to clean the switches on the score motor, which isn't all that big of a deal. Basically, that's just like a relay. It's just they're stacked on top of each other. And as these cams turn, the little index and the little valleys and mountains on the cam make the switches connect or disconnect. So that's all. So you can see how once you start messing with it, everything's the same thing. You just, once you learn how to clean and adjust switches a little bit and how to see if they're working the way they should be, that's the whole freaking game. I mean, like, it's all just switches. And so we oh, I didn't show you this. On this side of the playfield there is this entire row of relays. They were all cool. And whenever I was doing this, by the way, all these on the playfield, I didn't find any switches that were out of alignment or anything, so I think everything just needed cleaned. You can see that most of them are labeled. We'll go upside down here. So this first one is the setup relay. The second one is the swinging target relay. The next one, I'm out of whack. The next one is the super advanced relay, then the advanced relay, then the change relay, then the C relay, the B relay, the A relay, the double bonus relay. So we got all of them doing their thing. And like I said, we got the cap soldered back on, got the two steppers working properly. And so now I'm going to just clean all the switches in the bottom, see what's going on with the chime unit, see if it looks like everything's cool. And I'll test that switch with a multimeter and see if it's any good, and if it's any good I'll reuse it, but if not I'll find another switch. And so once I get all that done, I'm going to lay it all down, and then we're going to hit start and see if any of the stuff resets and does like it's supposed to. And I'll just film it and we'll do it here on the video and see what our next issues are. But I'll do the bottom first and come back. We are getting closer, so we just removed the playfield. It's real easy, especially if you have to unplug it anyway to clean the jounce plugs. So we just popped the playfield out, which makes it really easy to get to all of these relays. We went ahead and cleaned all of them. I didn't find, I found one or two over here that looked like they weren't touching, so maybe that would have changed some things. The stuff on the score motor actually seemed pretty good. All of this stuff seemed good. We found some interesting stuff, like the wire that runs the coin counter is disconnected, so I'm trying to figure out where it goes. I kept talking about the chimes, but they were actually still plugged in. That cord that was unplugged was the knocker. So we plugged it back in, and I checked the power switch, and it's bad, so I've got to track down one that will work for that. So for right now, we've just still got the wires twisted together there, so it's always on. We clean the connectors coming from the coin door. Now on these you can go as far as you want. If you wanted, like if this is going in your collection, you could take off each relay slowly and then clean underneath it, get all of the dust and dirt and grime gone. I've even seen people take everything off of the bottom board there and paint it, then put everything back on and put it back in. That makes it look really nice. We don't usually do things like that because it just takes so much time, and it would be cost prohibitive since we sell these whenever we're done and have to make a little bit of profit. So, we've cleaned and adjusted all of these. So what I'm going to do now is pop the playfield back in, and then I'll film turning it on, and we'll just see what it does and see if that fixed any problems or if it's still acting up, and then track down what we need to do to get it going. Okay folks, we slid the playfield back in, we plugged it into the wall, and remember it's always on because of that switch as of right now. And what it did was all the playfield lights came on. It started counting down the bonus, resetting it. The score motor was running, and it popped on the same player shoots again when lit light. It's trying to illuminate, the same player shoots again, lit lights on the back glass, but it's very dim. And then the game over light is on over here. So I believe that's the game over light. So I'm going to just hit the start button and see if we get anything. Okay, see here how it's just going because this one isn't resetting. So that's a misadjusted score reel switch like we were talking about earlier. I'm doing this by hand. All right. So it adjusted back. So one of those switches on the top of that reel is what allows it to reset, and that thing must be not making good contact. So once I got back to 0, it went to ball number 1, which is what that light's saying. I believe that light is saying 1 player. I believe. You've got the 1 player illuminated up there, where it's telling me first player. And then it kicked the ball out. Now we're missing all the playfield lights, so I need to look into why that is. That noise you're hearing is that motor runs the entire time you're playing, but that's good because now we know that our swinging target works. And it kicked the ball out. So both of these flippers are screwed up. Like this one is just limp, so it's not going to work right. I guess the left one might be alright, but they don't even have rubber on them right now. We're going to replace both of the bats. So I think what we'll do is just hit some stuff by hand and see what we get. So this should be 100 points. 500 points. So it must have been the, who knows. That's 100. So basically we've got a lot of playfield lights that don't work. All of our feature lights don't seem to work, and the same player shoots again light is stuck on. That target works. Spinner is scoring. That gave me a light for a second. That's interesting. So when I hit the target, I'm getting all my lights back on. Chimes are working, but they're sounding kind of bad. But as you can see, the game is trying to limp back to life. So I'm going to tinker with it a little bit and see what I find, and I will report back with my progress. As promised, reporting back with my progress. All right. So I wish I had a interesting thing to say about the lights. I got them all working again by just wiggling the Jounce plug, like that we cleaned, that goes down into the bottom of the cabinet. I wiggled the Jounce plug. It must have had to just, one of the connections wasn't perfect. All the lights came back, and it made the same player shoots again light go off, and the one back there that was dim go off. So those are wired in a weird way where I guess it was just kind of backfeeding it to make those light up since the other ones weren't lit up. I don't know. I looked at it on the schematics. I couldn't figure out how in the hell it was doing that, but that's what it was doing. Also, I adjusted the first score reel. I'll step that forward so we can see that it resets good. It was just like I thought. There's the stack of switches. The middle switch was just barely open, so it couldn't reset itself because there was no power running to it. So I got that. See, what else was there? I went ahead and replaced the flipper bats and adjusted them a little bit. It's always kind of, I guess it's up to whoever's doing it to adjust those to whatever angle they want. I kind of like mine kind of flat. A lot of people adjust them way down, but I adjusted them kind of flat and put new flipper bats on it. I got in my pop bumper caps, brand new ones. I just haven't put them on yet because I have to work on the pop bumpers. I'm going to replace the skirts, and I got these in. These are cool. These are dummy reels. So this is just a sticker that goes right there. So there's a fake reel on most pinball machines. The last reel doesn't move, so there's a fake reel, and when you look through the back glass you just see it like that. Now the color will be a giveaway, I guess, but it'll make it 20,000 instead of what looks like 2,000 right now. Isn't that horrible? Isn't that horrible? I can't believe they all did that. So what I've done is I've got a piece of paper here and a pen somewhere, And we're going to try it out and see. I'm going to make a little checklist of my final things that I have to go through. So let's see what it does. I'm going to hit start. Now notice we're on 0 credits, but what I did was in the back, when you get to 0 credits, it opens up this switch. I just connected it so it can't open it up, so you never run out of credits. Oh. So those all reset. This is saying 1 player. This is saying ball 1. That's saying 1 can play because it's a 1-player game. If I hit start again, it'll say 2 can play, and it'll still be on 1, but that'll alternate whenever I play the 2-player game. So let's see here. I want to see. I'm on. The bonus is on 1,000. I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that or not. Let me write that down. Something to check. It might not be supposed to step up at all. It should be. It might stay at bonus at 1,000 on ball start. All right, you can see my swinging target is working like it should. So if we shoot the ball up and we go through here, we've got this going on too. The swinging target, the 5,000's lit up kind of weakly, so I don't know what that's all about. So this should score 100 points. And it did. And this should score 100 points. And it did. And this one should advance the bonus, which is on 1,000. And it did. Now the chimes sound kind of tepid, so I'm gonna have to mess with those. This should advance the bonus. It did. That should advance the bonus. It did. That should advance the bonus. Oh, so one of my bulbs isn't lighting up. That should advance the bonus. It did. Let me write down 5,000 bonus night. Okay, this says 1,000 when lit. This will be fun. Yeah, buddy. So whenever it swing, it should roll over. It did. Cool. You can see how the spinner is just awesome. Look at the points. Look at the points. This says super bonus advance if you hit that switch back there. I don't know what that'll do. It gave me 5 bonuses. That's cool. So we're up to 10 and 1, 11,000. Let's see, what else have we got? There's a switch here. Let's see what it does. It gives us a measly 10 points. There's a switch here, probably does the same. Oh no, it gave me 50 points. Well, isn't that random? Okay, we've got the switch here. 10 points. And the one on the other side, 10 points. Okay, so the swinging target says target scores, advance bonus, and lit value. Okay, so it will advance your bonus. It doesn't really score or advance your bonus. It advances your bonus. That's like your reward for hitting it. And the lit value, which I think is 5,000. And our bonus is on 11,000. Okay, it did do that. Did it give me my 5,000? I didn't see. Now we're on 10,000. No, 1,000. Yeah, alright, so that's working. Okay, so this is saying 500 when lit in this out hole, right? That worked. This one is saying 50 because it's not lit. Scored 500, didn't it? Was I tripping? All right, so that light's probably just not working. 500 when lit, light on right. If I knew how to get those lights out, I guess if I end the ball. Okay, so this also should do 500 points, and it should light the double bonus when lit. So my double bonus is here. I believe it did give me 500 points, and it did light the double bonus. So let's try this one. Yeah, it gave me 500. All right. So I think all that's going on here is that bulb's just burnt out. I replaced it, but it must just not be, the socket must be acting up or something. Okay, and finally is the pop bumpers, which I think I've already determined do not work. So they should give me 100 points. Yeah, they're not doing nothing. Let's see if this one is. You gotta kind of watch that, it'll pinch you, or it'll make you think you're gonna get pinched. Okay, pop bumpers aren't doing anything. So the pop bumpers are completely dead. So we'll write that down. Pop bumpers dead. All right, so I'm going to end the ball, and we've got a double bonus, and we've got 13,000 as our thing. So I should get 26,000 points. So we should end up on 73.84. 73.84. It's looking good, folks. So on the newer ones, the way they do it is they count all the way down. So since it was 13,000, they go, and then they do it again. That's how the digital ones do it. But on the old ones, they just give you double for each thing. I've got dirt all over my hands. Ignore that. They just give you double for everything. So it goes as you count down. It gives you 2,000 points. So very cool. So let me check this. So now that those lights are off, let's see if that gives us 50 like it should. It did 73.89. So now this one should do the same. All right, cool. Yeah, so both of those lights should come on at the same time, and that one wasn't, so it's probably just burnt out. And we didn't check the special. This is 1,000 points, and this is 1,000 points. Cool. All right, so I think that is everything has been tested. Oh yeah, it moved to ball number 2, and we end the ball. It kicked it out. It moved to ball number 3. That looks like it's ball number 5, but it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the flippers are nice and strong. It's hard to play with one hand. All right, and it went to game over, so that's good. We didn't get a match bulb to light up, so I'll write that down too. Match bulbs. All right, so there's our problems, folks. The bonus starts at 1,000 points, which it may be supposed to, so I'm going to look in the schematics to see. And the 5,000 bonus light, which is right in the middle of the playfield, doesn't light up. So that's either going to be the bulb socket, the actual bulb's burnt out, which we already replaced, or it's going to be on the bonus unit where when it gets to 5,000, it's not making good contact with the rivet that makes the light bulb light up. And the 500 when lit light on the right doesn't work as well. Same thing. The pop bumpers are completely dead, and I didn't get any kind of match number on the back, which could just be because like the match is turned off or something. So I'll look into that. So I'm going to look into these, and I'll be back in a minute and tell you what I found. And if I see anything interesting, I'll film it. Okay, folks, so that's enough for this week's version of trying to fix the Space Odyssey. As you can see, some of these take forever. So we filmed all kinds of video of it, and then we will be back next week with the next installment. If you like videos like this, make sure to leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us. We do videos about all kinds of different pinball machines, arcade games, jukeboxes, and things like that that we're fixing. We even do video game stuff every once in a while. But subscribe to us below. Leave your comments and let us know what you think. If you have any suggestions or anything, and give us a thumbs up. That helps us out because it spreads the video to other viewers who can find out about what we're doing. And we will see you next week with the conclusion of the repair video.